You think the worst thing a neighbor can do is let their dog poop on your lawn? Try having your entire childhood dock, built by your grandfather's bare hands, bulldozed into splinters while you're still sipping coffee. And the people who ordered it. They sent you a fine for unauthorized emotional distress. My name is Ethan Caldwell. I'm 42, single, no kids, and up until last spring I thought the quietest life was the safest one. I live on the same 3-acre slice of wooded heaven in northern Michigan that's been in my family since 1969. Back when lakefront meant you could actually see the water without someone else's McMansion blocking the view. Every morning for 20 years I'd walk the same 50 yards of cedar dock my granddad nailed together during the Nixon administration. Same creak under my boots. Same smell of pine resin and algae. Same loons laughing like they owned the place. That dock wasn't just wood. It was the only thing that never asked me to explain myself. Then one Tuesday in April, I stepped out with my usual black coffee and the dock was gone. Not broken. Not vandalized. Gone. Just 12 jagged pilings sticking out of the water like broken teeth. And a neat little pile of fresh-cut cedar stacked on the bank like someone had gift-wrapped my memories for the landfill. Tire tracks from heavy equipment led straight across my side yard toward the brand-new Ridgeview Estates Phase 3. Same development that had been eating forest at the rate of 2 acres a month since the new board took over. I stood there blinking, coffee going cold in my hand, trying to convince myself this was some kind of prank. A very expensive, very permanent prank. Spoiler, it wasn't. I called the county. Lady on the phone sounded like she'd already had 6 coffees and 0 patience. Sir, according to our records, that shoreline is designated common area for Ridgeview Estates, HOA. You'll need to speak with the board president. I laughed once. Short, dry, the laugh you make when your brain still hasn't caught up to your adrenaline. Then I hung up, walked inside, and opened the fireproof box under the stairs. There it was, the original deed from 1969, yellow as old newspaper but still legible. 3 acres. Full lake rights to the center line. Granddad's signature in fountain pen. Tax receipts going back 54 years. Every single one stamped paid. I took photos. Every page. Every receipt. Then I printed them, 3-hole punched them, and put them in a binder I labeled evidence in Sharpie like I was starring in my own true crime podcast. That's when the first letter arrived. Hand-delivered. Taped to my front door with painter's tape, so it wouldn't damage the finish. Ridgeview Estates HOA letterhead. $750 daily fine for unauthorized use of common area dock space. Deadline to remove personal belongings, meaning the remaining pilings, I guess, within 72 hours. Signed, Margaret Voss, HOA President. Margaret Voss, 50-something, helmet hair the color of expensive champagne, smile that never reaches her eyes, voice that could curdle milk if you let it. Everyone in the subdivision called her Marge behind her back. I called her Margaret, to her face, every time. I decided not to respond right away. Instead, I drove to the county clerk's office, paid for certified copies of everything, then went home and started reading Michigan quiet title statutes at 2 a.m. with a highlighter and a growing sense of dark amusement. Because here's the thing about people like Margaret. They think silence means surrender. They think if you don't scream, you're scared. They have no idea silence is just the sound of someone reloading. 3 weeks later, I got the second letter. This one included photos. My kayak leaning against the garage, time-stamped, with a red circle drawn around it like I was a terrorist. Continued violation of community standards. Fine now $1,500 per day. They were escalating. So was I. I found an attorney named Ray Delgado. Small office above a taqueria in Traverse City. He smelled like carnitas and old law books. He read my binder, whistled low and said, "You've got a unicorn case here, Ethan. Most people fold at the first fine. You're about to make them famous." We filed the quiet title action the next week. That's when the neighborhood really turned. Suddenly nobody waved anymore. The lady who used to leave zucchini on my porch stopped. The guy who borrowed my chainsaw ghosted me. Even the mail carrier started dropping my mail in the box like it might bite. Margaret, of course, weaponized the rumor mill. At the monthly HOA meeting, which I was now banned from attending, She apparently told everyone I was hoarding lake access for personal profit and refusing to contribute to community betterment. Community betterment. That's HOA speak for, we want to sell your view to the highest bidder. By June, they'd started building anyway. 3 spec homes. Big ones. All facing my side of the lake. All with brand new docks jutting out like middle fingers made of pressure-treated lumber. I stood at my kitchen window one evening, watching the framing crew laugh while they nailed joists, and I whispered to the glass, "Keep going, please." July brought the certified letter from the HOA attorney. They were countersuing for intentional interference with business expectancy. They claimed my baseless lawsuit was delaying sales. Damages sought, $1.2 million. Ray laughed so hard he choked on his iced tea. They're bluffing. They're terrified. Keep your phone charged. They're about to make a mistake. They did. August 14th, 11:47 p.m. An email chain from Margaret's personal Gmail account. She'd accidentally CC'd the wrong person. Landed in my inbox via an anonymous tip. Subject: Update, Caldwell problem. Body: Team good news. The holdout still hasn't produced the original deed. If we get the new docs finished by end of month, we can argue adverse possession and flip the narrative. He'll fold once he sees the cranes. Stay the course. Hem. I stared at the screen for a full minute. Then I forwarded it to Ray with one line. Merry Christmas. Discovery was brutal for them. We deposed Margaret. She showed up in a white pantsuit, hair sprayed into submission, clutching a binder thicker than a family Bible. Ray asked one question after another, polite as a funeral director. Mrs. Voss, did you personally review the title history before authorizing construction on Mr. Caldwell's deeded property? She smiled that thin, practiced smile. We relied on the title company. Did you obtain a current survey? We used the one provided by the developer. Was that surveyor licensed in Michigan? Long pause. I believe so. Ray slid the 1969 deed copy across the table. Can you explain why your common area plat map overlaps this recorded instrument by approximately 1.8 acres? She blinked once, twice. Then she looked at her attorney like he might throw her a life preserver. He didn't. By October we had the smoking gun. The email chain, plus depositions from 2 board members who admitted Margaret had pressured them to move fast before he notices. The judge, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s who'd clearly dealt with one too many HOAs, didn't even let Margaret finish her closing statement. She leaned forward, glasses low on her nose. Mrs. Voss, I've been on this bench 23 years. I've seen greed dressed up as community spirit more times than I can count. What I haven't seen is someone stupid enough to put it in writing. Gavel. Construction halted immediately. All 3 houses, framed, sided, half-roofed, declared trespass structures. Ordered removed within 60 days. Compensatory damages, $980,000. Punitive, another $400,000. Plus attorney fees. The board tried to appeal. The appellate court laughed them out of the building in less than 3 months. Demolition started the week before Thanksgiving. I didn't gloat. I just stood on what was left of my bank with a thermos of coffee and watched the excavators eat their own mistakes. Each scoop felt like punctuation. The HOA collapsed faster than a cheap folding chair. Margaret resigned for personal reasons the day after the ruling. Last I heard she moved to Florida, where apparently HOAs are even meaner. I rebuilt the dock last spring. Same cedar. Same hand-cut joints. Same loons laughing overhead. Carved into the center beam. Caldwell Landing EST 1969. Reclaimed 2025. Now I run a small conservation easement retreat on the back 2 acres. Kayaks, birdwatching, no golf carts. No rules except, don't be a jerk. First guest book entry. Thank you for reminding us what private property actually means. So here's the question I still ask myself every quiet morning. Who's the real Karen in this story? The woman who thought she could rewrite history with a binder and a smile? Or the guy who let her think she was winning right up until the moment she lost everything? Drop your take below. I'm reading every single one. And tell me, Has your HOA ever tried to steal your peace? Because if they have, I've got a binder you can borrow.